Number go up is the most important principle of this project that we could imagine. I know people want to get idealistic about this, but it is only number go up that gets people's attention. It is a credit score of the industry. $2 trillion industry, you've made it now. There is no failure now. There's never been a failure of a $2 trillion anything. The critical mass on Bitcoin now it's unstoppable. I'll bet you half my position in Bitcoin, you're going to regret not loading up. Everyone's going to regret not loading up. And $30 trillion worth of real estate. Now, you may say, people may say, I don't think real estate can go to 660 trillion. I think Bitcoin can go to 4 trillion quite easily.
Today, I'm excited to welcome Gary Cardone to the podcast. Gary is a Bitcoin enthusiast, serial entrepreneur, AI explorer, a heart-centered energy, fintech, and digital assets investor. Welcome to the Bitcoin Edge, Gary.
Thank you. Good to be here on Friday. I'm a rainy Friday in St. Pete, Florida.
Well, it's great to see you, and I appreciate you being here. And you just got back from the Bitcoin conference in Vegas. Tell us a little bit about what you learned there, and how was it?
Oh, it was awesome. Very little discussion on price and a lot of discussion on the future. Some of the biggest players in the world were there. I suspect next year it'll be another 30 or 40% larger with all the card schemes and all the banks showing up, all the legacy banks. It was a very, very good event. It really shows you how much Bitcoin has matured over the last probably 4 to 6 years.
I heard there was a lot of discussion about stablecoins. How do you think that factors in?
Yeah, well, I think the friction that's caused from legacy finance, stablecoins are going to find their role there. People are going to be very interested in cutting costs. I think merchants will be interested in using stablecoins. So this is most certainly going to educate the world on the use of the digitization of our planet. I think we just need to think that we are compressing all this data in a way that we've never been able to actually use this much data in this manner. So we're just going through a transition. And the stablecoins is going to effectuate, I think, a learning curve to the audience, to the public, that they have not had before in Bitcoin.
So do you think stablecoins will introduce people to Bitcoin? Because stablecoins really are on the fiat rails.
Yeah, but I think what it does is it gets people used to using digital assets. And right now it's been difficult. You use your Spotify on my telephone, even though my telephone came with a music app. I mean, in fact, the very company that transformed music, I don't even use that solution. Why do I use Spotify? I find it easier to use. It became easier for me to touch a button. When that is happening with Bitcoin, and we're not there yet, it's too complicated to use Bitcoin. And that's not saying anything bad. I mean, I'm not damning Bitcoin. It is where it's at in its evolution and adoption. I know you've done some work with Jeff Booth. I think Jeff's one of the smartest guys in the industry. However, when he says, "Hey, if we don't do peer-to-peer, Bitcoin's a failure," that does not mean that Bitcoin's a failure this moment. People don't listen to, yeah, but on what time scale? 10 years? I could see 10 years from now Bitcoin being used peer-to-peer very actively. I can most certainly not see that happening today. And by the way, it would be a waste of Bitcoin's true value today to use it in that manner, in my opinion. I would rather let one of these other stablecoins or copycat synthetic Bitcoin retard projects to just build a bridge between now and the next 36 months or 60 months. Let Visa, MasterCard waste their time with some of these projects. If Bitcoin does what it's supposed to do, it will take on all the roles. I just don't think it all happens like, if you meet the right guy or the right girl, it doesn't just instantly form a relationship, bang, bang. right then and there just because you had a date.
Yeah. So what you're
Probably not a
saying,
great analogy, sorry, but well, I think what it does though, it talks about you have to take time with these things. This is one of the largest disruptions this planet's ever seen, and it has actually made a massive amount of progress in 16 years. That is a very, very low time frame for this type of disruptive revolution. So I think people just need to be a little pragmatic.
so tell us a little bit about your Bitcoin journey. When did you discover Bitcoin, and how did that all come to be?
Well, I was fortunate enough to start my career when I was 21 in the energy space when it was undergoing a massive regulatory disruption called FERC Order 478, I think, and it was really designed to break apart the utilities and the monopolies that had been formed. These were basically big pipelines. Think of a big highway. It's been built for 50 years. And all of a sudden, a corporation buys it. And every time you get on the highway, you have to pay 50 cents. Well, after some period of time, you should stop having to pay the 50 cents. Maybe it's 5 cents. These people were making margins for doing nothing, just adding costs. Reagan comes into office, says, competition's good. Let's regulate the market in such a way that we actually create competition. Today, natural gas and electricity, which I would say are more valuable than Bitcoin. Okay, let me just say that again. Electricity and natural gas are far more valuable than Bitcoin because without electricity and energy, you have no Bitcoin. In fact, you have no civilization whatsoever. Yet NVIDIA trades at like 600x of what ExxonMobil trades at. Bizarre to me, and I think that will change. But my point is, if you agree with me that we took energy, the most complex and valuable product in volume, it determines whether you're a first, second, or third world nation, and we turn electricity into a 30-minute pricing cycle and natural gas into a 30-day pricing cycle. We've increased the amount of production in the United States from about 8 billion cubic feet, 8 billion cubic feet a day in 1992 to 108 billion cubic feet a day. We're the largest exporters of LNG in the world. And the natural gas price is 1/2 of what it was when I started my career. Price will continue to go down. There's so much fossil fuel on this planet, it is outrageous. And so going through that 20 years, I have been looking to answer your question, how did I get into Bitcoin? I then moved into payments, saw a massive amount of plumbing problems that Visa and MasterCard make absolute massive amounts of money on, literally plumbing issues. Rails, they call them rails. I've yet to see one of these rails. I can see a pipeline. I can see a grid. I have yet to see a Visa rail running across the United States. All that infrastructure and capital that require, all the risks they took, literally make 3% on every transaction for doing nothing. Has never lost a penny on a credit card transaction in their lives. The regulators support them as a complex duopoly, and it's just sick because it's Joe Consumer who's paying these bills. I don't need Visa, MasterCard credit cards or their credit or their expensive credit or all their little fees that cost Joe Consumer unnecessary amounts of money. Okay, the system is so abused. And the point I'm trying to make here is that a guy like me can't just go into energy and build a multi-billion-dollar business. I cannot just go into payments and say, hey, Visa, MasterCard, by the way, I've had these discussions at very senior levels. Here is a construct that will fix all your plumbing, 50% of your plumbing problems tomorrow. Y'all call fraud. They never want to have a second meeting. I mean, I have been doing this my whole life, fixing markets. Like if you can do it in energy, you can most certainly do it in a credit card payment. There's 650 million disputes across credit card rails, Visa, MasterCard. This only happens with American credit card processing state, okay? It does not happen in Asia. Ant Financial does not have a chargeback problem. It's only under the Visa, MasterCard duopoly. And about 30% of all their revenue is from value-added services. And you didn't know that, right? You didn't know Visa and MasterCard also do value-added services. Yeah, they sell fraud protection for the plumbing problems they have. See what they're doing? So there's no competition, there's no innovation. And just to give you an example of the value of innovation, fracking of natural gas happened when? Okay, the fracking of natural gas really put the United States in a monster position of being able to create tremendous amounts of energy in short periods of time. That happened at $30 crude oil. It did not happen at 100. Nothing happens at when the markets are inefficient. It happens when prices just get like super compressed. So my point being, and sorry for the long story, but there has never been an industry in my career, 40-year career, where I have been able to walk into it with my credibility, not having to have $8 trillion billion and protection from a regulator. I've never been told no to a meeting in the crypto space. And I see massive, and by crypto space, I mean the Bitcoin industry. You guys want to sell popsicles on the edges? It's awesome. You're doing some advertising, but Bitcoin is an industry. It is not a coin. Now, it is becoming an absolute industry that's going to hire millions of people. Okay, same people to get coffee for me or do processing or analytics or whatever. All of those people are needed in the Bitcoin industry, and none of them are here. We are just beginning this industry journey. So the way I got into it, I feel like I feel like people are pulled into this rabbit hole. Most people just don't dive into it. And the amount of interesting people that are coming into it, I have never seen an industry where you have this much intellectual capital come into a market with experience. This has never happened for Bitcoin. Some of you guys don't like the experience that's showing up, but like I have adoption experience that you don't have. And like these are really, really valuable tools and lessons to know the characteristics of when you're going through certain cycles. And we are most certainly in an early stage of adoption with Bitcoin. It's really, really exciting. If you open your eyes, this is really hard not to see now.
You're right.
I've been building businesses my whole life, and the lawsuits, the HR bullshit issues over the past 10 years of declining or inclining wokeness. I haven't had a meeting in an office building in 6 years where a female or a male walks into my office. I must have somebody else there, even though I'm clean as the day is long. But I'm like, all I need is one. So the gravity of building businesses and really getting friction, the amount of human error that I have seen go from this level to this level. Human error is people just going crazy. Hey, I'm going to sue Gary Cardone because he's got Bitcoin. I'm going to hate Gary Cardone from the regulator because he voted for Donald Trump. I mean, that has happened to me for sure. I have been targeted. Cool having a twin, because when I'm targeted, I get on the phone and go, hey, did you get a 3-letter agency letter in the last couple of weeks? Oh, yeah. Different agency too, man. Don't tell me this isn't coordinated. So for all those reasons, and that's before we get to war, political insanity, capture, COVID-19, draconian governments, the EU's completely out of control. We were blowing up pipelines in the to Germany, our own allies, blowing up major pipelines. Come on, disrupting supply chains. And then everyone wants to blame a politician and the bankers. The truth is, this isn't even inflation. This is war shock, blowing pipelines up. It's outrageous. The world's going through a transformation right now. Like there's just too much friction on this planet. And I must just say, I draw it all back to one thing. We no longer, and have not for at least 30 years, had free markets. By free markets, I mean markets that operate without intervention and without protection by regulators who want super large monopolistic companies that are available to be tracked. They get to make one phone call. Hey, we want to do the research. Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, you're our little CIA punk, and we're going to research all the data on all your people. And by the way, don't tell any of your shareholders and don't tell your users. These are felonies at the grossest level on the planet. It's disgusting to me. And I'm probably going to end up getting, sued again or thrown in jail. But like, we have to stand up and talk about this. This is why I love Bitcoin. Okay. It makes me a better human being and it makes me more free. I think people should define what the word freedom means. And because it's amazing how few people can agree on what that word means.
There's so much there. So what you're saying, we'll get to freedom, but what you're saying is it's easier today just to hodl Bitcoin than to invest in real estate, than to have businesses. I mean, I know you have many businesses, but is that what you're essentially saying? Because I thought I saw that you sold a business and you sold a house to go into Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that owning Bitcoin for 48 years, which by the way is shorter than 99.9% of any business that anyone could ever build. By the time you start it, fund it, build it, exit it, there's no way you're doing that in 4 years. Okay, just survey it. I've done this 6 times now. It's 7 to 12, 15-year journey. And on 2 or 3 of them, you will never exit. They're just never exits, okay? I mean, I got 2 deals that pay me, I don't know, they're just going to pay me forever, okay? But the problem is that all that funding is also locked up. I can't just get out of it if I so choose. I look at Bitcoin and I go, wow, for 4 years, if I hold Bitcoin for 4 years, no human being in history's ever lost money. 4 years is half the time of building a business that I would even possibly start drawing cash out. And look, I've made a lot of money. Okay. I mean, I make $200 million or $20 million or whatever after 7 or 8 years. I look at Bitcoin, I have no human error risk. I don't have to hit a clock. I'm not going to get sued by anyone. I can stack as much as I possibly want. Never fear that I'm over allocated. Most people won't understand that. But when you're building businesses and that's all you do, you're always over allocated to one thing. Like, it's all concentration. And by the way, concentration is the only way to get rich. Even if you inherit it, dude, it's a total consolidation play, right? So this diversity thing is just dumb and dumber. When I see a deal like this, if I met the greatest woman on the planet, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, let me keep looking for something better. Okay? Like, I don't go to my girlfriend and go, hey, what do you think about diversity, babe? Let's, I'm thinking redheads this weekend. It's not going to fly well for my marriage. Yet in investments, we sit there and go, I need to spread my bets around. It's crazy. So yes, I think owning Bitcoin, I would sell everything I have today. I'll sell my house right now for Bitcoin. I would sell 2 businesses I own for Bitcoin. I'm in the middle of actually exiting a deal, and I've told my partner, it's a very large number, hey, give me 50 cents on the dollar in cash right now, and I'm out. I mean, she could make an absolute fortune. I'm talking about, $100 million. I would take half the bump right now. Just give me the cash, and I'd stick it into Bitcoin, and I will outperform that investment. And this is the way people should be thinking about this. So I sold the house you mentioned. It was not my main house. I bought a house for an ex-wife. She didn't want it. I held on to it. I was trying to do the right thing. Made no money on it in 3.5 years. Had to clean it, had to fix it, had hurricanes, all that stuff. I converted it all up, dumped it at a $1,000 discount because it wasn't moving. I dropped the price 300 grand, moved within a week. If your house isn't moving, it's because it's priced incorrectly. And bought $66,000 Bitcoin 9 months ago. I've made more money on the Bitcoin with 0 headaches in 9 months than I made on the investment that I originally put in at 1.4 million, and I sold it for 2.7. Literally made more money in 6 to 9 months, and that will continue to happen, I think, for the next 8 years.
What about putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet of a company like Michael Saylor does?
Well, I mean, how about putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet of a family treasury? Even better. Even better, because I don't even have to jack with the economics of going public and doing issues of this and issues of that. Look, this is happening now. And it's really good that it's happening for commercial reasons. It's not happening for political reasons or, hey, we need a new free world. Number go up is the most important principle of this project that we could imagine. It is nothing like I know people want to get idealistic about this, but it is only number go up that gets people's attention. It is a credit score of the industry, $2 trillion industry. You've made it now. Like there is no failure now. There's never been a failure of a $2 trillion anything. The critical mass on Bitcoin now it's unstoppable. Okay, like y'all said it was unstoppable 8 years ago. This is a runaway freaking locomotive. Okay, there's no slowing this thing down. It only increases because its weight is going to increase. The number of players that get involved are going to increase. So it's, to me, at 100 grand, this is the cheapest entry based on what we know today. We know so much today that we didn't know even a year ago.
So where do you think we are in this cycle?
This cycle, I don't know what this cycle means. I'm pretty sure the 4-year cycle, as we understood it, is pretty much trash completely. I don't know why people need to think they need to hold on to that cycle, by the way. Bitcoin should be maturing in a way that its early idiosyncratic cycle things are not even relevant anymore. I mean, the issuance of new Bitcoin is irrelevant to the flow, to the pool of Bitcoin that is in the market right now, 19 some odd million. You scored out a few more Bitcoins. I just don't think the 4-year cycle is the deal. What will be the deal will be the global economic cycle. Where's the great need? I think we're getting ready to find out what Bitcoin. This is the cool thing about Bitcoin. You will only have to hold this position for about 6 months to a year to recognize whether it's working or not. And this is an ideal time. If it doesn't work, you're going to know in 4 months. You buy it at 100 and it stays at 100 and goes to 92. Okay, maybe you review the position. But I say, hey, why don't you look at it after 4 years and see what you think? And I'll bet you half my position in Bitcoin, you're going to regret not loading up. Everyone's going to regret not loading up. And $30 trillion worth of real estate. People may say, I don't think real estate can go to 660 trillion. I think Bitcoin can go to 4 trillion quite easily, right? Also, I'm not a believer that all of the other assets have to contract. This is a early, maybe Jeff Booth, Michael Saylor viewpoint of, oh, wow, all that money sitting outside the Bitcoin world is going to squeeze into Bitcoin. It does not have to be a zero-sum game anymore. Let's think about this differently. All the distributions from real estate that I get roll right into Bitcoin. I don't have to close my positions. I can make those positions now they are generating fiat, start buying Bitcoin. That's how I walked my brother into it, right? Why would you want to just roll it over into cash or real estate, roll it over into something that's going to add more growth and give you a little diversity? This happens to be supercharged diversity in so many ways too. Liquidity terms, collateral terms, duration terms of 4 years versus 10. It's just an ideal product.
No, you were trying to orange pill your brother for a while. What was it that finally got your brother to see Bitcoin the way you do? I'm sure he doesn't see it quite the way you do, but he's on his way, right?
Well, look, he has a monster position in real estate. So people, quite frankly, Grant would have been in this space earlier, and I would have been in this space earlier if you guys would have actually known how to market and promote Bitcoin. It is the worst marketing and promotion of any product in the history of mankind. And it is that reason at $600 billion valuation that I was like, oh my God, I am going all in. That one thing, oh wow, you guys got to $600 billion. arguing with each other, telling a guy like me that the only way for me to be a good Bitcoiner is if I converted everything to Bitcoin and put it on a seed phrase. You guys did everything you could to not have me come in this door. I mean, it's unbelievable how bad, and I'm not teasing anyone. This is a problem of decentralization. Okay, there are negatives to decentralization, and this is one of them. No central marketing thing until the ETFs. When I saw the ETFs coming, I'm like, oh my God, we now have a marketing department. And it's going to be really simple marketing. Notice what's happening. Fidelity's putting out little stick videos, and it's getting really, really clear. You know, it's easy to buy Bitcoin now. It's not confusing. That probably cost me $1 billion. Okay, I could have easily been in at 8,000, but I saw you guys acting like crackheads in argument, debating the dumbest stuff. The stuff I heard, I think actually Grant got more comfortable when I spanked about 2,000 people in a room one day, spanked them and just said, hey, you guys are ridiculous, man. You're embarrassing me. I mean, I bring my brother in here, and then you guys start telling my brother he should sell $4 billion worth of real estate that's paid me and him very well. What, he's supposed to just walk away from his shareholders that he's grabbed? This is his business, man. Like, are you guys crazy? And it's that kind of immature behavior that kind of put me off, right? It gave me heed for warning, which I think was probably appropriate. But you have to remember, I don't want to buy 4 Bitcoin. I want to tell you, I'm looking for I don't need to work. I'm looking for something that's exciting to do. And like, I have lived a really great commercial life because I am unwilling to work in industries that I find boring or unfair. Like, I'm not going to be an unfair guy in a business deal. If I'm taking advantage of somebody weaker than me, that's not a game. I might as well just be a prison guard, right? I want to be able to have fun. So like, when I found this industry, I was like, wow, I can help a lot of people here. I can help my kids. I mean, I'm going to put my kids in a box here. They're going to have a problem. They're going to have a problem you and I have never had. They're going to have $1 billion to deal with. And I think that's like a big responsibility, you know, because I actually want the money. Why am I doing this? I want the money to be able to change, okay, to have a position of power. And I want to make sure my family stays in the very top 1%, man. Like, I'm in it. I want to stay there. You most certainly want to try to get there, or at least get closer movement, because the seesaw is shifting. And like, anybody can, like, there's going to be billionaires that are no longer there. Here's a good example. Chamath. I don't know why. I don't mean to embarrass Chamath. Chamath Papatia, I think that's the way you say his name, owned 5% of all the Bitcoin at $300. I think that's the story. He sold it, did a bunch of SPACs. Can't say that went so well. Probably didn't do his credibility that much. And had he just held on to his Bitcoin, he would be sitting in Donald Trump's office this morning. And let me tell you, if you've ever watched Chamath, you cannot tell me that he's not sitting there going, wow, dude, I could have been there with my color skin. Changed the entire legacy of that man's entire future and the DNA. He made the wrong move. People are making that mistake again right this second. Guarantee you they're making a mistake. You know how many people lost Bitcoin? They lost it because they didn't respect it. They priced it incorrectly, and they disrespected it, and they deserve to lose it. No one's losing $100,000 Bitcoin. No one's losing $100,000 Bitcoin.
But in order to keep Bitcoin, like you said, you really have to understand it, because many people bought it really cheap and didn't understand it and sold. And you also mentioned that you got in because you needed it. But in a way, your brother, I don't know how much you needed it. You probably could have lived a pretty good life, even if you hadn't got in Bitcoin. But now you're going to live an even better life, and your children are too, like you mentioned. But your brother lives a very good life. Does he really need it? People often say, why doesn't Elon get it? Well, he's already the richest man in the world. Maybe he doesn't need it.
Well, Elon's a peculiar example, but look, I think that people like my brother and I, what else are we going to do? I mean, you got to remember, these are games for me. It's just like me going to a casino. I can just last longer here. I don't have many hobbies. I do some painting. I find business to be really intellectually very stimulating and exciting. And Bitcoin allows me, Bitcoin has a lot of moving pieces to it that make you actually, if you're intellectually curious, which I am, what better way to get super rich at the tail end of your career after you've got all this experience? It would be stupid for me not to I have no employees anymore. This is almost a gift from the universe for me. I'm a guy that I believe that after 100 to 150 people, I become less interested in the company. At 300, I cannot wait to leave the company. As soon as HR shows up, I know I should be exiting. 150 people become impossible to manage, I think, for human beings. And now I'm able to make a CAGR that is unparalleled to anything I've ever been able to achieve. And I don't have an HR department. I don't need a secretary unless I really want one. And if I want to go to the Bitcoin convention, I get to go because somebody's asking me to speak. I become relevant to a society that's growing. My friends are there. I have fun hanging out with these people. They're younger than me usually. And if they're not younger than me, they have more experience, more money, and are going to be central players in the future of commerce. Central key players. So for me, this is a gift. I've been doing this my whole life. I mean, this is oh my God, I won the lottery because it makes sense that I would get this 4 or 5 years earlier than my brother. I take different risks than he does. He's very, very conservative. But watch what he does here. He will most certainly look like me before it's over, and it won't take long. I think his first deal was 15 million of Bitcoin, and I think this next deal is 100, which is 40%. So it'll end up being 70, 80%. It's just, if you're smart, my allocation is over 86%. And I am doing this correctly. It is only you, the people that go, that's ridiculous. I think it is you that's confused, not me. And not to make anybody wrong. I just you should ask yourself, wow, why would he do that? And I have people that literally build businesses for a living and they think I'm crazy. And I'm like, I don't understand why you can't get this. You're building a business and you're 90% in on that business. And you have so many errors that you can't control.
They don't understand Bitcoin like you do. I wanted to ask about you and your brother. I mean, you're both such successful entrepreneurs. Were you brought up in a way that you were very pushed to succeed, or is that an internal fire that you both have?
I got to tell you, I really do not know. I think some shrinks probably should, do some study on us. But he and I took very, very, very different paths. I mean, could not have been more different. He's never worked for anybody in his life, and I've only, had people. I've worked for people for a long time in the corporate world. So maybe insecurity, maybe the way he and I grew up, maybe we're trying to make our dad, who died when we were 9, proud. Maybe, we didn't have uncles that showed up. We're probably going to replicate that same era. Sadly, we I can't imagine the uncles, they had their own issues. My mom was terrified all the time from, just money. She just had a middle class, hold on to everything, don't ask anybody for help, and never have to put herself into prostitution or the children. So for me, I can only speak for myself. One thing has been important to me, and that is that I would never embarrass my dad or my mom over the last name. I mean, for some reason, he and I both got this message, And this is why when people attack us legally, you see us go completely mental. Like I almost went bankrupt fighting someone over something, and it's like, I'm not going to tolerate this bullshit. Okay, like I was raised correctly, and I could have been a billionaire 30 times over. I could have broken a lot of rules, and I chose not to. I'm most certainly not going to have some lawyers, try to bury me because the system is built that way. I think defending your credibility is the most important thing anyone can possibly do. And by defending it, I mean behaving in such a way that you never harm it. So I don't know. Grant and I are really odd, weird characters. I can only just, thank my parents. I don't know the other piece of that. I hope my children actually, behave properly. I think you can just raise kids. I think if they're fundamentally, look, my mom told me, hey, look, you can make it illegally or you can make it legally. And one way is a little more difficult than the other. And I think Bitcoin offers, this is the cool thing. No one can say that Bitcoin is not offering you a fair chance. Anyone that talked about glass ceilings or says, oh, well, Gary can buy Bitcoin because he's got money. I made $27,000 a year when I first went to work. And by the way, I was overpaid. Okay? I was a pain in the ass, arrogant, undisciplined, little punk who couldn't, I should have paid somebody to hire me. And so, when people tell me, hey, they can't afford Bitcoin, first off, you can buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. You can buy an ETF. I don't care how you buy a Bitcoin right now, personally. Just come through the door, get a little sniff of this stuff. And don't tell me you can't get a job in the industry. Don't tell me you can't find a good guy or a good girl. This is a great industry. I would have gone to Bitcoin Vegas just to meet people or to find a job. So bullshit on everybody that says you can't find a job. You're not trying. You're not trying to bring value to the marketplace. And that's sad to see, right? It's just the bell curve. A lot of people are going to be lazy in the bell curve. And then there are going to be people like me that, look, it's just fun for me. I've never even used the word work here, right? I actually enjoy most of what I do. So everyone should have that. And you can. Now, you don't have to go work for Chevron.
Yeah, that's true. Once you start saving in Bitcoin, you get more time, money, freedom, and you can do what you love. That's one of the things I love about Bitcoin. I wanted to ask you about your I am statements. You post a lot about that on X. I really enjoy them. They're really positive. And is that one of your ways for getting in a positive mindset?
It's funny you say that. I immediately start smiling, right? At the Bitcoin conference, look, I must have had 30 or 40 people. I'm walking down the conference. I am. People screaming I am. I'm like, oh, wow. And I know what they're doing, right? That's a great feeling. I mean, imagine if there's 4,000 people showing up. Look, this is the story. So in October of last year, I was painting in my art studio, and I talked to myself a lot. And I said, man, I really miss not having a place to go to. And I started criticizing all the religions I've studied, which I've studied a number of religions. And I'm like, all the religions are just BS. And it all comes down to human beings being, arrogant. And I'm telling you, from right here, it smashed into my body. I've had this happen to me a number of different times in my life. And it's always a physical feeling. But it was a voice, not a voice, but a message. And the message was, hey, why are you criticizing? Why don't you do something about it, big boy? And I then had this picture of this microphone, the camera, and the laptop. And the message was, hey, you don't have to be ABC. And so that morning, I started what I called the Church of Cardone. 1,000 people showed up. I didn't advertise it. 1,000 people show up. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? And then I started really thinking about, hey, what am I doing? And these I am have been the most powerful two words in my universe ever. I mean, like, I am a testimony of how cool the I am is. When I was 25, I read so many books. Like I was just thirsty to not kill myself, like through mistakes. I had no clue what I was doing. Zero. Like I was totally lost in college. And the moment my mom kicked me out of the house, I had no clue. I was completely lost. And when I mean lost, I mean lost. And the IMs have kept me on track. Okay. And every time I get in trouble, if I go off the pathway, it's because, oh shit, I forgot to do the IMs. The truth is, I'm always doing the IMs. I'm just not conscious of it. So pain drives me. I've gone through 5 cycles in my life that are very difficult, very painful. I believe actually people go through this. I don't know why successful rich people never talk about their challenges, because let's not behave like we don't have them. We have every challenge every other human being. In fact, I might have more challenges than some, because I'm a little weird. I mean, when Elon says, hey, I'm not sure you'd want to be me, I totally get it. I have zero interest in being Elon. Like people this is a very lonely life, just building businesses your whole life. It is lonely as all get out. To be able to find something like Bitcoin then, right? And no one's competing with each other. That's cool. You hear it every now and then. That old mindset of, ooh, he's getting more Bitcoin. That's ridiculous, right? So this IM thing now, I have 75 hours of church work in less than 9 months. One thing about the Cardone brothers, once we find something that's really me, once I find something, even the 75 hours isn't even like, it's not difficult at all. I'm just in the flow. I'm just trying to stay in the flow. I've learned a long time ago, I will not be a prostitute for any amount of money. I will not prostitute myself. It's a really big deal to me. And that means I'm not going to stay in an industry that I'm not enjoying. I'm not going to do something just for the money. And this IM stuff I'm doing, 4,000 people are showing up every Sunday. I don't know 4,000 people showing up in any church in the world. That tells me, one, listen to all the messages. That was a really powerful message. I'm being pushed into the IM room. This is not me. I'm the paintbrush and nothing more than the paintbrush. And as long as I always believe I'm just the paintbrush, my life works great. When I think I'm the painter, I get all fucked up. But if I'm the paintbrush, and so it's a lot of freedom. Okay, just to be really, really honest. When I started doing the math on Bitcoin, 21 million units, and I'm like, oh wow, I own this much of those 21 million units. I mean, I have a pretty cool position now for somebody that came in late. I then looked at it and went, wow, what is more finite than Bitcoin? And it hit me. I am, dude. I am the most infinite, perfect genius. Bitcoin can't imagine the future. I can create the future and manifest it if I really put my energy into it. And the same with you. I will never meet another you. And being a twin, like I am certain he is a different entity, okay? Like completely. No girlfriend that's ever loved him would like me. We're different, man, in every way, right? Like, and I got an 80-year life cycle. You start thinking about that, and you're like, wow, you're a unique, profoundly unique individual put here for some reason. You're one of one. So I think it's a great message, and Bitcoin got me there. Funny that, huh? Bitcoin got me to, one of one. Now, I think I could build a church around this concept. I mean, like a serious church, because people are for an hour and a half, 4,000. I have never spent a penny advertising my name or my brand. Like I'm not doing that. This is all organic. And that tells me the world is seeking something, some gravity, some magnetic. They want the truth. Now, I believe we all want the truth. And it's just, we have to have the courage to look at it. There is no disputing I am. No one is arguing with me over this simple phrase. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. And what you put after that really matters. Is the I Am group related to Bitcoin? Do you talk about Bitcoin in
I
that
talk
group?
about no finance. There's no finance whatsoever because everybody knows me for financing. That
Right.
this is most certainly not a finance meeting. It is about wealth though, and being rich. Being rich has nothing to do with zeros. Being rich is being able to do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is, hey, I am a good person. I have been able to work the world of business, not always perfect. I've made mistakes, but I do not have to be a prostitute or a felon to create great wealth. And I think in doing the great wealth actually helps me change the world more. I don't see it as a bad thing. It's all about what is my intention? What am I doing here? Why the hell did I show up in the year 2025 with this experience? I must be here for a reason, right? So I'm most certainly not a victim. That's even worse than being a bad guy. Okay. Hey, seriously, okay. You guys that are victimy and oh, I'm an empath, like all you're doing is you're an apathetic, responsive, reactive human being, allowing the parasites to run all over you. That's not cool. We need a defense, man. So, like, we just need to all man up. I believe the more I do the I am, the more I believe people are much, much, much more able than we credit them.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
really believe that.
I think that's wonderful. And I really appreciate your honesty here. Do you think there's a spiritual side to Bitcoin? I mean, how's it changed you?
I think there has not been a North Star for 3, 4, 500 years. And by North Star, I mean something that is immovable. It doesn't change depending on who's in office. The color doesn't change. We have not had a North Star. We think we have. Oh, Obama is our North Star. George Bush or whoever, Mother Teresa. All these people are human beings. There's no North Star. We now have one stable point that is not going to be manipulated as much as the other things, whether it's the Bible, which gets completely rectified every 300 years. Sorry not to offend you, but most of all these books have been altered. That means they are full of lies. They are full of lies and mistruths and untruths and half truths. And that is an alteration. Unless you believe, Bitcoiners, that the Bible or the Jewish Bible or the Palestinian or any Bible got transmitted from human being to human being without any mutation whatsoever, I don't know why you're in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's whole concept is, wow, we can have a set of rules that are unchangeable, immutable, can't fuck with them, excuse my language. Yet I got Bitcoiners that go, oh yeah, I believe that my religion transposed all this over 4,000 years and we never altered anything. This is the way. Like, if this is the way, why is our planet destroying itself? Every human being's operating at suboptimal level. So I am certain that we are full of lies. The way we live is a product of lie. Otherwise, we'd all be rich and resourceful. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of everything around. So to me, we now have a North Star that everything is going to be judged against. When people see how much money and freedom I am going to be able to obtain without killing myself, that will get people's attention. Because number go up, this is my point. Number go up, and oh, by the way, I've never been invited to the inner circle with the secret handshake, right? I'm never going to be invited to that club. Guess what? I don't care. I don't need the club. I have Bitcoin. That's powerful.
Yeah, that's wonderful, Gary. I just wanted to ask you, what does freedom mean to you?
Great question. I think you should ask every person this question. Freedom for me is the ability to say no to anyone, anytime, over any matter. No. DOJ, no. FBI, like to be able to just say, stop it. Okay. The other side of that is to be able to say yes to anything. Yes to anything. So to me, that is true freedom. Say no, can't, don't want you, don't need it, don't need to get married, don't need your investigate, whatever it is, or be able to even withstand pressure. Like freedom is also being able to push back okay, not get rolled over. Sometimes you got to push back. You can't just close the door. You got to hire lawyers or do whatever. So freedom for me is power. The more power I have, the freer I am. And by the way, no time in history has freedom ever been given to anyone. It's always taken. It's never given freely. A little scary way to end it.
Bitcoin gives us freedom too.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, Paula.
Thank you. I appreciate it.